Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Awesome.
I can see your screen.
All right. So in front of you, the image that you see in front of you are the Brooklyn Packers. They're a worker-owned co-op based out of Brooklyn, New York. Pretty successful group. So I'm gonna touch on 3 today. The Producer Marketing Co-op. This is where groups of people or businesses can come together. They produce a similar type of product. A lot of times they're in the food industry, but they're not to be confused with the food co-op. I'll go into detail about them in a second. The consumer cooperatives are cooperatives where the members are the ones that want the good or the service. That's a specific type of cooperative. And then there's the housing cooperative. I didn't realize we were having a housing cooperative person today, so you're gonna get a little bit of that too. So a very well-known producer market cooperative is Ocean Spray. They are actually a cooperative. They started in 1930 with 3 grower families. So again, they have the same product, but they're like, how can we either produce this or market it in an efficient, cost-effective way for us? And because they knew that as individuals, they did not have the scale, what they decided to do was come together, bring all their cranberries together. Initially, they were making those cranberry sauces and slices that folks have for Thanksgiving. And then they branched off into having cranberry juice. And today they're a $1 billion corporation. And it is a co-op, and it is owned by 700 grower families across the US, Canada, and Chile. So you can have a profitable cooperative. I feel like sometimes people think that it will not be as profitable, and it is only for the social benefit of the people they serve. And though that is one of the principles, it is to serve something. This served those families. You can still be profitable, having a cooperative. The other is the consumer cooperative. Your local credit union is probably a cooperative. This particular one I'm highlighting is the University of Wisconsin's credit union. You guys have probably seen Hope Credit Union. The difference, some credit unions adhere strictly to a cooperative model where the board votes, the members have say in how things are operated, and some only the board has a say in how things are operated. Here at the Wisconsin Credit Union, they have more than 290,000 members. That is a large cooperative credit union, and then 700 employees. So consumer credit unions, consumer cooperative is also an option. Homeowners cooperatives are where you own a unit within the cooperation and you buy into shares. You don't actually own the building and you don't actually own your unit. I'm sorry, you own a share within the building. And that's how you transfer ownership. You own your shares. My first property was a cooperative. This is how New York City is able to have people live in housing that is affordable, unlike California, where you can have a whole career and still be homeless. Housing cooperatives is a financially sustainable model for people where the area they live in has really high housing costs and they're not able to afford it. So units come together. This particular organization that I'm bringing your attention to is just the Federation of New York Housing Cooperatives. Because there are so many and because some boards don't know how to operate well, they're like, well, let's show some best practices. Let's come together in this unit and we can teach each other and help to sustain it. The cooperatives in New York City are very successful, and they've been operating for years. Just so that you can see, it is about 7,000 total housing cooperatives, over 7,000 housing cooperatives in New York. And the vast majority of them are over 10 units. About a quarter of them are 2 to 10 units. You can start small. Like a lot of times the point of entry is a deterrent for people when they want to start something. But you can buy a 4-unit home and decide, let's start this together as a cooperative and we own it jointly. And if you want to leave, then you sell your shares in this, right? And that's a way to create housing for people who do not have housing in an area where housing is very expensive. So yeah, 27%, just 2 to 10 units. Some quick facts about co-ops before I move on to other less sustainable models of money making. There's 64,000, as of 2015, there's been about 64,000 co-ops in the US. Worker co-ops account for 394 of them. Commercial or marketing co-ops like Ocean Spray. A marketing co-op you might be familiar with is Land O'Lakes Butter. Now, the banner that they come under is marketing. They create their own product. They create their own product, and they're like, well, marketing is expensive, creating labels, packaging. How about you're making butter? I'm making butter. Let's just create a unifying label together. We have our different entities. We share the profits, and we have less expense because we've chosen to come under a cooperative for our marketing needs. And this is just to illustrate that at different points of your business, you can have a cooperative. If you are, just go back to Ocean Spray, if you're like, I need to turn over my raw resource, the cranberries, into an actual product, you go into a production cooperative. If you're like, we just need help marketing, or if you're like, we need help distributing our things, and you come together with people who have the similar interest in mind, and you create a cooperative. This is really common for Black people in this country. This is not something that only white people have done. It is actually how a lot of Black people have survived after slavery, is that they created joint ownership entities together and pooled their resources. Much of which is accounted for in this wonderful book, if you're ever interested. It's called Collective Courage, and it's by Jessica Gordon Nemhard. And if you are interested, you should look this up. It talks about a lot of the cooperatives that African Americans in this country have started and have thrived through and have supported entire communities with. Then financial services co-op, those are your credit unions. It's about 48,000, almost 49,000 of those. Social and public service cooperative, which is a lot of what we have, are mutual funds owned by Black people. Utility cooperatives, those are like if you, in rural areas, you're like, we need electricity, they come together to source their own electricity. It's a need that the community has. Agricultural cooperatives, almost 2,000. There are 852,000 jobs in the co-op sector, and that can only grow. We can create businesses here jointly and employ people from it. And there's over 1 million people living in cooperative homes. Jackson, Mississippi is really on a modality to build and expand their cooperative environment. Their efforts you can find in this book, Jackson Rising. Now that's our neighbor practically. Memphis, you can't allow Jackson to surpass you economically because they've decided to work together in building and forming cooperatives. If you want to know about their efforts, you can find it in that book. Solidarity economy is folks who come together. It's an alternative economic model grounded in cooperation and solidarity, right? And so they have 3 areas of solidarity that you can come together in the solidarity economy. And I'm gonna share some well-known companies in a second that fall in this. So there's a value-based solidarity where worker cooperatives and other businesses come together who share economic justice values, fair trade, ethical consumption, socially responsible investments, and practices. A lot of time, cooperatives are a part of a solidarity economy, but they might not be. This is saying at every level of our business, we want to be fair and equitable. We want to adhere to economic and social justice practices. So just because it's a cooperative doesn't mean that I'm going to source it from a sweatshop, right? They're taking those things into consideration in the solidarity economy. The second value, anti-oppression solidarity. It is saying that they are in solidarity with oppressed countries and oppressed groups of people, poor, the women, indigenous people, people of color, gay, lesbian, the queer community, all people. And therefore, they're not going to discriminate when it comes to hiring practices, when it comes to being a part of their cooperative, when it comes to working in conjunction with. And that's possible. Just because you have a cooperative doesn't mean you want to work with different people from different groups or backgrounds. And so in the solidarity economy, they're like, if you're really about this social and economic justice thing, then you will not discriminate against other groups, but you will allow points of entry for them. The last value is the vision-based solidarity. This is with social movements and people who share visions for local economic development. And one example is Bolivia's People's Trade Agreement. Speaking of Bolivia, the largest, that's South America, the largest cooperative is in Japan. The most cooperative nation with the most cooperatives is in Brazil. So this is like everywhere, South America, Asia, everyone. And one of the earliest cooperatives, and a really large one, is in Spain, Manitoba. And that actually, there was work done with Advanced Memphis where they did a study with the folks from Manitoba to see if Memphis is in a position where they can sustain a cooperative, because people have to buy into it. People have to be willing to support the cooperative when you start it. So you guys can probably find that study online. So a part of the solidarity economy is saying like, okay, not only is this a cooperative, but we're also going to act like humans and work cooperatively with people outside of our cooperative. One known, very famous company within the solidarity economy is Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And this is why you guys will probably see them making like social justice comments and putting things out, because they're like, listen, we have a business, yes, but that does not mean that we have to act in a way that dehumanizes other groups of people. And they have to back that up by speaking out against certain things and by supporting certain things with their dollars, and they do. Another member is Plum. Any of you who have children, Plum is a baby food organization, and they have committed to sourcing things in an economic, in a humane way. So they're big businesses thriving in this model. And I know that, you know, a lot of times people are like, this is kumbaya, this is a dog eat dog world, you cannot survive. Well, these businesses are surviving, and other people in other countries on other continents are adhering to these practices because they've decided that this for-profit model is not sustainable. It is not, if we continue to destroy each other and if we continue to destroy this planet, we will not have anything left here to use or for our children in the next generation. And you cannot ignore the gap that is widening between the rich and the poor and think that we can continue down the road that we are continuing down. So I just want to take you guys really quickly, if I can click on this link. I wanted to show you. Gosh, can I go? So in the solidarity economy,
Absolutely no worries at all. We honor your motherhood.
Can you guys hear this video?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Keep talking, Ken. We good. We don't worry about him. We good.
Thank you, Ed. Can you hear the video though?
No.
No?
Now.
Okay, great. So this is the participatory budgeting. This is another part of the solidarity economy. The thing about the solidarity economy, this particular group in New York is that, again, it is at different places of our need as a community. This is a policy level. This is a group where they've been allowed to be a part of the budgeting process for their city, for their neighborhood. And so that some folks would be like, you won't have any say, they spend the money however they want. Well, these people have come together within solidarity and now they sit on it and they get to make decisions for $4 million of spending, how they want that done. And that is determined by the community. So these things can be done if we come together in solidarity. So I'll let you listen and watch.
Okay, we don't hear it now, Kayon.
I think you would have to leave your profile off of mute for us to hear the audio.
Yeah, I think we were hearing your sound. I don't think it's showing the computer sound.
Hey. Hey, Kayon, is anybody else unable to?
What did you say, Bertram?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I can't hear the video. Can anybody else hear it?
No.
No, she has to unmute, but Kayon, if you need a minute, take a minute.
So yeah, you can unshare it and share it again with the sound, because we were hearing your sound. So if you unshare it and reshare and share your audio, you can mute yourself and we'll still hear it.
Also, we did get the 5-minute warning about 3 minutes ago. So do you think it might be an option to just share the link for us to check this out?
So then we don't need to watch it. You guys can see it on your own. I can probably put the link in the chat. But this is she was just gonna talk about the process and how they come together to do that. Let me go back to, there we go. All right, so then really quickly, some other economic for-profit models you guys are all probably familiar with in the traditional capitalistic structures or individual proprietorships, cooperations, partnerships, and limited liability. Those are just different structures. I don't know what his problem is.
Attention, he wants some attention. That's it.
I know, he's narcissism. I don't know when they grow out of it.
That's all right.
He is princess, no worries. He is just fine. There's nothing wrong with him.
And
sweet boy.
I know, they're calling you sweet. What? But you're not actually sweet. Okay, so yeah, those are just some for-profit models. I wanted to also share some really successful cooperatives. Equal Exchange is one. It's a coffee retailer. They made 74.7 million in 2018. That's what they were up to. So that's another cooperative. One of the another successful one is the Cooperative Home Associates Care Network. They've made 65 million in revenue, and that's Black owned. So we are out here doing it as well. That's Black and Latin female owned. Oh no, we didn't. Okay. We have 55 seconds. I'm sorry, y'all. Were we supposed to let them ask questions?
We were, but I think if there's an option, we can exchange some contact information. I imagine that we'll all be having this conversation going forward. And so I would just like to give a quick and really sincere thank you again to Kayon. And is that Samori? Is that your hype man? Is that his name? Yeah, shout out to Samori for coming into the place. And also Brother Ed Whitfield, who thought it not robbery to join this room. I want to just say thank you to both of you and everybody who joined in. Looking forward to jumping back in the main room, and also really looking forward to continuing this conversation. Really looking forward to doing this work alongside you all. So much love. I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you, Kayon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Kay.